Fletcher Cox penetrated, filled holes, and he just kept coming. It felt so good. A 39-17 smashing of the Saints. The Bitter Birds are here to talk about it. Season high in points, total yards, rushing yards, time of possession, 34 first downs, tied a franchise record. So overall, you got the win that you needed, but at the same time, it is the Saints. So just cool your jets a little bit, but it's confidence moving forward. Got a huge game coming up next Monday night against the Giants, and let's bring the fellas on. How you guys doing?
Doing good today, but, took 5 weeks for the Eagles to finally put this offense together for a whole game. So pretty wild that it took us until 5th week of the season to finally get everything going. But like we said on the pre-show, if there was ever a game for them to really start the Jets on offense, this was a game against a really bad Saints defense.
And it's good to be back, boys. Sorry I missed you last week. Hope you didn't miss me too much. I was down in Miami, caught the game with some other Eagles fans. There were smoke bombs everywhere. There was shots being drank. Oh, it was an exciting game. We finally got a game where we were entertained. I mean, there was cheering, there was scoring, there was first downs. We were running the ball, we were passing the ball all around. A great game on all aspects. And, I mean, were the Saints that bad? Were the Eagles that good? Time will tell, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. It could take the momentum that we need, kind of like 2 years ago when we were in a rut and we played the Raiders and then we went on a run. Maybe this is the game that jumpstarts the stretch run down the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us are proclaiming that the Eagles' offense is back or anything. I mean, the Saints' defense is absolutely atrocious. Might be the worst one in the league, but like I said before, it's a confidence booster moving forward, and we saw some things in the play calling that we really liked. So what did you guys think of Chip and the play calling, maybe putting some of that ego aside yesterday?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing. You said it right there. I mean, this was not only a big game for the Eagles, this was really a big game for Chip Kelly as a coach. And I think it was probably the biggest win for Chip Kelly as a coach in his career in the NFL, because if the Eagles would have fell to 1-4, if people weren't already calling for his head, they definitely would have been going for his head after a loss to the Saints. So for him to come out and put his ego aside, and he really did a lot of different things on offense, especially in the running game. They ran the ball a lot more under center. They, did some different schemes on the offensive line to get extra protection, in the running game. And they also did some different things with Bradford, with doing a little bit of a bootleg with him.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. And Chip finally put his ego aside. He called himself out finally during the week and said, using the Andy Reid line, I got to do a better job. Starts with me and play calling. And he brought up, especially on first and second down. And you notice during the game, I mean, we only had 11 third down attempts. We did so well on first and second down, calling good plays for easy throws for Bradford. Say we get 9 yards between first and second down, 3rd and 1, we actually run the ball and we get the first down, which is great. So, we actually changed it up a bit. Instead of failing running the ball first and second, get some easy throws going, get Bradford going. He threw over a 70% clip. Chip just did what he had to do, and I think he called a great game against the Saints team. Even though they're not a prolific defense, it's still we did what we had to do.
Yeah, exactly. And, the first play of the game is exactly what I wanted. A little 5-yard, little hitch, little stop route. That's exactly what I was calling for in the pre-show. And that's what we saw. And it was a lot of that on first down, a lot of passing. And we kind of wanted to see Sammy Fleeves throw a little bit more. And we did see a little bit of that. And I got some stats to see. Since we didn't do the show yesterday, I was able to watch the game again. I did some charting. So here are some numbers from yesterday's contest. All right, so they ran the ball 18 times from under center, gained 57 yards, just 3.17 yards per carry. So it really wasn't working too well. And we'll get back to this point in a second. I just got some other numbers here for you guys. We ran 7 sweep plays, gained 100 yards on these plays, 14.29 yards per carry. I mean, Kelce, Jason Peters were extraordinary in the blocking game, run blocking game especially. All right. I know, like, during the week, we're talking about DeMarco Murray and how we got to run him under center more. Well, 11 carries for just 23 yards, 2.09 yards per carry. At a shotgun, 9 for 60, 6.67 yards per carry. So I got my little R. Diddy notepad here, but it's white. It's not yellow. But, yeah, so those are just a couple numbers to throw out there. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, the one thing is really the running backs. They really got them both going a little bit here in this game, and that was the main thing. They really hadn't been able to get both Murray and Matthews going together at the same time, and they finally found a nice little combination in this game. Murray still struggling a bit, but you definitely saw signs of the old Murray in this one. And with Matthews, he just continues to shine. I feel like every week Matthews is getting better and better. Seems like he's just continuing to pick up the system, and he's really thriving in it. So, Matthews, he does a really nice job on the sweep play. And the other thing Matthews has shown is he does a really good job of hitting the hole, inside the tackles, and he gets 3 or 4 yards every time, even if there's really nothing there. So, right now it's looking like Matthews is a better fit, but if they can get, Murray to that second level, then I think you'll see Murray start to shine. But right now, Murray's having trouble getting past, that first line.
Yeah, you see how much success we had running the ball, 186 yards on the ground. Got to give a lot of credit to the offensive line. Jason Peters and Lane Johnson were dealing with lower body injuries, and they just gutted it out in great performances. Jason Peters had his best game of the season, and I liked a lot of the 2 tight end sets that Chip was using. We were really able to set the edge, and the running backs just went to town. Matthews averaged 9 yards a carry, and Murray was just over 4. Sproles was about 5.7. Matthews, I agree, Mike. He's looking a lot more. He's looking stronger, explosive. He's finding the hole quicker. He's more decisive. Whereas Murray is kind of it almost looks like he's hesitating, like, to find which hole he wants to go into. And he's struggling to get to that second level. But once he's there, he looks pretty good. But it's getting there. It's the problem. Whereas Matthews is just going through people if he has to. He's just looking like the more explosive back.
Yeah, there was a drive there, too, as well, where Matthews got like 3 or 4 straight touches. Picked up like 10 yards per carry, it seemed like. And then Murray comes back in, and it's like 1 yard, 2 yards, and, it's kind of been that kind of thing with Murray. So it's, we'll see. Now, this is where I'm going to be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. I don't like being a Debbie Downer, but I'm just going to say this about the State's defense. All right, so these sweep plays that were working extraordinarily well yesterday, a lot of these plays, go watch the tape. David Hawthorne, Kikaha, Haoli Kikaha, I can't say his first name. It's so Hawaiian and awesome, and I can't say it. So Kikaha and Hawthorne, these guys were over-pursuing on all these plays, and it was just opening up the gap. Now, obviously, Kelce did a great job. Can't take that away from him, but the Saints were definitely helping us out. Now, the big test is going to be against the Giants, and to see if they can keep running the ball, because I believe the Giants, coming into yesterday's game, they were number 1 in the NFL in run defense.
Yeah, well, you talk about the sweep play, and it's funny because, a week or 2 ago, we were on this show talking about how much we hate this play, and it's just not working at all. They need to can it. Well, what happened in this game was, like we've been saying, is the main guys on that offensive line stepped up, and they ran the sweep play to perfection. Kelce was out there, doing his thing, getting out there on that sweep play, making the blocks, and that's a key. He's a key on that sweep play, and he did an outstanding job. So they're going to continue to need, Peters and Kelce and Lane Johnson step up on those sweep plays. But the other thing with the sweep play is what they were really able to do in this game was they were able to use their, high-tempo offense the way they wanted to, because they were able to wear down the Saints defense in the second half. And you could really tell that the Saints were worn down. There was one point where, the Eagles they had the Saints so out of sync that, Sean Payton was over on the sideline arguing with Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, Adrian mentioned next week the big test. Giants are better at run defense. That's the big test. I think the offensive line, they saw how, I don't care, regardless of who you play against, the offensive line saw what they could do, finally put their best full game together, both run blocking and pass blocking, and especially in the running game. So hopefully they can go over the tape and see what they did and just continue, to utilize these different zone blocking schemes that Chip pulled out, and just hopefully a huge game next Monday. Huge. Hopefully we get it. Keep it going.
Yeah, and basically what I saw is Chip basically scrapped this play the first quarter or so. So the notes that I have here, they ran 7 run plays from under center before calling their first sweep play. So clearly Chip was going away from his philosophy. But what happened was, like Mike was saying, that's a great point of tiring out the defense with the sweep play. Obviously running sideline to sideline on every play, going up tempo, that's what tires you out. And that's actually what worked against the Falcons in Week 1 was the sweep play. So that's that. And Mike, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, and there was, even certain parts late in the game there where you say that they ran that play with Sproles too, and that's really key because, Sproles, how fast he is late in the game. If you have a tired defense, that's a perfect time to utilize Sproles.
Yeah, we truly used all 3 of our backs and, rotated them in perfectly, and we had the Saints on their heels. One thing we didn't call really was the wheel route. We talked about that route a while. We didn't actually call a wheel route. We just ran sweeps and got 15 yards a clip. It was great.
Yeah. 14.29 yards per carry.
There you go.
Awesome. And and that's something that Chip's offense is kind of gets shit for. Not being able to put a game away in the second half with the run. And the sweep play is what did it. So that's what kind of put the game away. Draining the clock a little bit. So there's that. So let's move on to Mr. Sam Bradford. Through those 2 red zone interceptions, just awful interceptions. What did you guys think of his play?
Yeah, well, I thought besides those 2 interceptions in the red zone, they were not good, I thought that he really bounced back pretty nicely after that. He had a pretty solid game. It's it's hard to really say anything too negative about Bradford after a performance like that. I think if you can take away those 2 interceptions and he can put up a performance like he did the rest of the way, I don't think that that position is going to be an issue.
Yeah, I liked the way Bradford played. Besides those 2 throws, the one really pissed me off because all you had to do was throw it to the back corner pylon and he was wide open. Where I think it was Browner that came up and snagged that pick. It was just horribly underthrown, wobbly. It just wasn't. He just short-armed it. Other than those 2 throws, I think he was very efficient. He threw over 70% completion percentage, 333 yards, still had the 2 touchdowns. And he keep his jersey clean. He's gonna and pick the right play calls for him. Nice easy passes. Keep his jersey clean. The pass protection was great. He's gonna have an efficient game.
Yeah, we talked about this pre-show. I didn't think he was as great as you guys were saying. I think he was good, not great. That's kind of what I think. It was funny, though, on Twitter, though, after those 2 red zone interceptions, all the Sanchez tweets started. Oh, boy. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they were starting. They were filling up my timeline. Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is this. The stats look great, and the completion percentage was great. But he wasn't asked to do much either. A lot of it was yak. He didn't throw. I got to look at the numbers, but he didn't look. He didn't seem like he threw a lot of downfield passes again. So there were a couple other throws where he kind of sailed it a little bit, almost got picked off. But he was solid. He was good. I didn't think he was great by any means. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And to throw the 2 red zone interceptions, those are just killers to me. So he gets points off for that. That's the way I kind of see it. But the question I'll pose to you guys: was he better against Washington or New Orleans? What do you guys think?
Oh man, that's a tough question because it's so close. I mean, I'm gonna say that he was better in the Saints game because he got the victory, and my main thing is that he played all 4 quarters up to a high level. I mean, I just take away those 2 bad interceptions at this game, and I look at the rest of his performance in this game against the Saints, and he graded out well for me. So I think that I think that they found something here with Bradford, which they haven't done prior to this. They did a thing where they did that bootleg action with Bradford, and he was very accurate on that play. So I think that they really got to look at that play. They got to continue to run that play with him. And if you go back and you look at the success that Sanchez, when he has ran this offense, Sanchez had a lot of success rolling out as well. So that is obviously something in this offense that works. So, yeah, I'm going to say this game, but it's a close one.
Yeah, I'll agree with Mike. I'll say this game was better. Couple reasons. Against Washington, he threw for less yards, but had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, the no interceptions against Washington, okay, but now against the Saints, he had those 2 horrible picks, but was able to overcome them, come back, and still play an effective game and get the win, not let those 2 horrible picks and the Sanchez talk maybe affect them at all, and still came back and won the game and played efficiently. So I'm going to give them the Saints for better in the Saints game for overcoming those adversities and still being an effective passer.
Yeah, and before I get to my pick, just on Mike's point really quick, you see what happens when you can run the ball? You can run that bootleg a little bit more efficiently. So I think that had a lot to do with it too. But that is something that has worked though this year. When he is on the move, he throws P's. So, but as for me, I thought he was better in the Redskins game. The deep ball was the reason why. I mean, he was 4 of 8 on the deep ball. I thought he was a lot more accurate on the deep ball and just in general in the Redskins game. Like I said, there were some times where the pass sailed on him. I know that the completion percentage is really, really high, and the numbers look great, but I don't really look at numbers. I don't really care about the numbers. I kind of let my eyes see what it is, and that's kind of how I evaluate. But I thought he was better in the Redskins game, even though he did play 4 solid quarters against the Saints, but I thought he was better against the Redskins. That's just it.
Yeah, no, it's a really tough call, but I think that, really with Bradford at quarterback, if you forget about the interceptions, I think that the way that they utilize him in this game is how they really want him to play the quarterback position in this offense. They don't really need Bradford to do too much. If they're able to get the running game going like they did in this game, then they're going to be able to use that bootleg with Bradford, which really works out well for him.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. We didn't really need to throw the deep ball yesterday because we had the running game going. We had the quicker routes, more efficient passes working. So, it wasn't really necessary, but it was good in the Redskins game to see that, those accurate deep balls are there and he's capable of doing it. So, yeah, if I had to pick the Redskins game, that would have been, I would agree with Adrian, it was because of the accurate deep balls. So, it's good to see that the many facets of his game and it's been an encouraging couple weeks for Sammy Sleeves.
Yeah, and the other, I forgot to make this point too. On the 2 4th downs, he goes to Riley Cooper on these highly unlikely chance that you're going to get it complete. So I didn't think the decision making was that great in those instances. So I am taking points off for the critical mistakes. That's why you're better than the Redskins game. But hey, he's getting better. So it's like sounds like I'm bashing him, but I'm not bashing him at all. So
Hey.
it's funny because I'm telling everyone to be patient with him, and now it sounds like I'm hating on the guy. I'm not hitting on him at all. But I think a lot of people are just looking at the numbers and saying he had a great game. Now that's not saying that you guys thought he had a great game. I thought you guys said it really well. So but some people oh, he's back. No, not yet. It's not there. Not against the Saints. Saints that secondary is absolutely atrocious. So worst secondary in the league. They didn't record an interception, coming into the contest before yesterday in those two red zone picks. So those are my thoughts on that. And I am not giving Josh Huff any credit yesterday. I don't care because again, it's the Saints defense. You gotta do it a lot more than just the Saints. All right. So and your flip into the end zone was horrible, terrible style. If it was gymnastics, you'd get like a 1.1.
And the Saints players ran into each other in the secondary. He was wide open, so it was a joke.
Yeah, that was a play that Bradford actually had multiple options on because there was so many guys open because the Saints ran into each other that I think that he kind of felt bad for Huff, so he gave Huff a gimme there for an easy touchdown. And I know that all of us were holding our breath as we watched, Huff do his flip into the end zone. I was just waiting for that ball to come out and go out of bounds and be a touchback.
Josh Huff would do. Huff, puff, and blow the ball away.
Chip Kelly would have had him by his neck, just like that.
Oh man. Well, depending on the extent of Aguilar's injury, we might be seeing a little bit more of Huff. So we shall see. I thought Zach Ertz had some nice catches. The one in, I believe it was on one of those bootlegs, a little seam route. He went up and got it and trapped him.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you talk about Ertz, and Jeremy talked about this earlier, the 2 tight end set. I thought that they really worked to perfection, and that's something that I think that they've got to use more because not only was Ertz getting involved, you saw, Selleck had a touchdown catch. They were getting Selleck involved in the passing game. So can't forget about Selleck. He's a veteran guy, but he's known for his blocking, but he can still catch those passes too. So it was nice to see Bradford utilize his tight ends. Going forward, he's got to continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was nice to see Selleck get his second touchdown of the year, and still waiting on Ertzy to get his. But I remember that was a beautiful catch. He leaped up in traffic, brought that one catch down. I think he had 5 grabs, maybe 60 yards or so. So efficient game for Ertzy, and hopefully we can continue to utilize the 2 tight end sets like Mike said, and because it's effective in the running game and both the passing game and the bootleg. So I think it's a great comment. There's multiple facets of that formation that we can take advantage of.
Yeah. Now I get to Jordan Matthews. I love him. I hate to hate on the guy, but at some point you got to start catching the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is. Jordan Matthews is he's a tough guy to hate because he's just so likable. He even when he drops the passes, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to get mad at him because he does everything else so well. Even his determination on the field, he is fired up on that field. There was almost times in the game where he was in danger of getting penalties because he was, throwing the ball at the Saints. He was just really wanted the game badly. So, yeah, that it's the kind of a struggle for Matthews this year with the drops. This is something that he didn't experience last year. He was very sure-handed last year, but this year he's really struggling. So, I know that he is practicing this. he's probably out there at 7 a.m. Probably until midnight practicing on that jug machine. So he'll get it down, but yeah, it's tough to hate on Matthews.
Oh, he's such a good guy. Adrian and I met him firsthand in the Temple Penn State game. He's the man. And he does have great hands. We've seen what he can do. He's our best receiver, clearly. And, you know, these things are fixable. He's still a pretty young guy. He's only his second year in the league. Not too worried about him. Just hold on to the damn ball, because there's plays out there that, you know, against a better team, you got to pull those in critical situations. It's just you got to work on that. I'm sure he's on that machine, like Mike said, all day.
Oh, yeah. I think he's too hard on himself. I think that's what kind of some of it is with the drops. Because in college, he was one of the most short-handed receivers in the country. And now he's in the league, and he's, like, dropping everything, it seems like. And, you know, it's unfortunate. I think he's going to turn it around eventually. He does get open all the time. I mean, by far our best receiver that we have. But, just catch the ball a little bit more. I hate that. You can't hate on the guy, though. I love him. And we met him, and he's such a nice guy, and we took selfies, and he was so cool. But yeah.
Yeah, he'll get it together. We don't need to worry about him. It's the other guys that you have to worry about with the drop passes.
I think Cooper had a big drop on a couple drops actually. A couple of those were decent pass defenses on the 4th and 7, 4th and 9. One of those that Chip went for at the 34-yard line because we have a man named Caleb. So we weren't really confident in kicking a 50-plus yarder. So we went for it on 4th down a few times. First drive of the game, we go for it on 4th down. I think that was one of those to Cooper. It was missed. So.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our defense now. Fletcher Cox, he was just ejaculation everywhere. Oh, my pants were very wet after the game. He was outstanding. 3 of the 5 sacks that the Eagles had. They came into the contest with only 6 on the year. We were talking about this pre-show. It was a lot like last year. Last year you had 7 sacks through 4 games. This year it was 6 through 4. And the game last year when they really took off was the Giants game. But this one they got 5 and 3 of them by Cox.
Yeah, well, you know what's great about this, this defensive line? It's like making a sandwich. You have your 2 great pieces of bread on the outside. We got Benny Logan and Fletcher Cox on the outside. Then on the inside, you can just throw in whatever kind of spices, whatever kind of jam you want on there. You can put a little bit of Brandon Bear in there. You can put a little bit of Cedric Thornton, maybe even a little bit of Bo Allen. And, boy, it makes one hell of a sandwich and one hell of a grilled cheese sandwich, actually. And it turned into a Brees sandwich because, Fletcher Cox, the best play of the game was when he got the sack and forced the fumble and recovered the fumble at the same time.
What can you say about Fletcher Cox? When he came out of the draft, this is when you know he's going to be good. Ray Diddy himself said that he likes Fletcher Cox in that draft. He wanted the Eagles to get him in the position we were at. And who do we get? We got Fletcher. And he, now it's his 3rd year in the league, I believe. He's really coming into his own. He's just an absolute stud muffin. He had 2 forced fumbles, recovered one himself, 3 sacks. The defensive line looked great. Benny Logan added a sack. Jordan Hicks was around the field if you're going to go to linebackers. D'Amico Ryans had a forced fumble. It was just an all-around, great game, also by the secondary as well.
Yeah, these sacks were coverage sacks. That's what they were. The secondary played really well. We give Maxwell a lot of shit, but he played by far his best game of the year yesterday. He gave up the one to Snead on the 3rd down. He got burned pretty bad on that play, but besides that, he played really, really well, guys. So maybe some strides moving forward. We'll see. Even E.J. Biggers made some plays, and I hate him. So I mean, I remember watching that. The third down, the ball's up in the air, and I see Biggers back to the ball. I'm like, oh, God. And then he tipped it away. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, for a second, I thought that we were going to see a Bradley Fletcher type of performance there where he didn't look back for the ball, but he actually did a nice job. He turned around, knocked the ball down. So, yeah, a hell of a play by Biggers on that one. But really the guy you talked about before, Maxwell, yeah, really got to give it up to Maxwell in this game. He came out, actually after suffering an injury in the previous game against the Redskins, and he played really well in this game against the Saints. So moving forward, they're really going to need to continue to get performances like that from Maxwell, where he goes out and he does a solid job on the team's number one receiver.
Yeah, you mentioned those sacks being coverage sacks, which is great. I've been saying for weeks we need to get to the quarterback more. So finally we burst out for 5 sacks, and credit to the secondary with great coverage. So our front seven was able to get to Brees. Maxwell, he had that fumble recovery, and he made some good plays. Biggers made plays. Didn't see much of Rowe. Thurman had a pick. Jenkins had his standard solid game. But, it was a couple big plays to Snead and Cooks there. But, overall, we held them in check.
Yeah, Jenkins and Thurman were both beaten the slot pretty badly on individually. I believe once it was pretty bad. But I mean, the way Jenkins is always in the backfield, whether it's stopping the swing pass or getting in on the run, the little sweeps to the outside, he's always in the backfield. He's been outstanding.
Yeah, no, you can't say enough about Jenkins. I mean, obviously he had some extra motivation in this game going against his former team, and you could really see it. He played a hell of a game. So, Jenkins, every week, I would say, him along with Fletcher Cox and Benny Logan, and now with the Jordan Hicks playing, all those guys have really been the most consistent every week on defense.
Yeah, I totally agree, Mike. If I had to add something in, I'd say Jenkins is our best tackler in the secondary, hands down. He really, like you said, on the swing passes, he'll get down in the run. He'll get right at you and he made some big tackles, just stopping them short on third down and things like that. Jenkins so consistent in the secondary week to week.
Yeah, and coming into the year, this is still crazy to me thinking about this. We're all talking about, all right, so our linebacking trio is just outstanding, stud muffins all the way around. And we're like, who's going to be the best one? Is it D'Amico Ryans? Is it Kiko Alonso? Is it Michael Kendricks? Well, there's some guy named Jordan Hicks that's been outshining all of them. Obviously, I called it. I said he was a stud coming out of the draft. I said he was the best player of all time.
Oh, you hated him. It's crazy, though. Kiko and Kendricks out again, and we have Mufasa in there, D'Amico Ryans, and who looks game by game. He didn't look great against Atlanta in week 1, but I think game by game D'Amico is, he's coming back from his second Achilles injury. It's tough, an older man, but he's coming around. And Jordan Hicks, what can you say? I mean, we were so worried about reaching for him in the third round, but Chip obviously saw something. It's been a beautiful thing to see Jordan Hicks emerge week to week, and I'm really excited to see the growth of this young player, especially someone that inside linebacker position. Chip has said, Kendricks missed games last year. It seems like Kendricks misses games every year. So that drafting Hicks and finding somebody like that in the third round, and you see he gets fired up. He looks like he's showing leadership qualities, and you need that inside linebacker. So Hicks, you can't say enough about the guy. He's a great young man.
Yeah, Hicks, this guy does not look like a rookie at all. It looks like he's been in the league for years now. And the thing about Hicks that has really impressed me the most is being around the ball at the right time. I am stunned by this. Every time there is the Eagles force a fumble, this guy is jumping on the ball. where he's there. He's right there to pick it up if he doesn't have to jump on it. It's just really, really astonishing that he just knows where to be.
Yeah, his awareness is wow, extraordinary. It really is. And the way he plays the run and diagnoses it, I mean, say for instance you have a 1st and 10 run, right? As a defense, if you're trying to stop the run, you want the offense to get less than 4 yards. And I swear to God, every time he's in on the run, it's either like a 1 yard run, a 2 yard run. You never beat him for more than 4. He's just wow. Like I said, I said he was a sleeper coming into the draft. No, I'm absolutely kidding, dude. Yeah. So I am to say that I'm shocked. Wow, understatement, definitely.
Yeah, he's definitely the most surprising guy on the team. Totally stunned. I really can't say much else. He's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, so, I mean, at least he's working out because there's a guy named Marcus Smith who hasn't really worked out, but he had his first tackle. He was active for the 2nd time this year, and he recorded a tackle. It was in the 4th quarter. It didn't matter, but he recorded a tackle, fellas.
Yeah, that's when they pan over to Howie Roseman in his office, which is now about 5,000 yards away from Chip Kelly, and you see him just, pumping his fist saying, "I told you so, Marcus Smith."
Oh, Marcus. Oh, Marcus. Oh, man. All right, let's talk about the kicking game. I still want Caleb Sturgis off this goddamn football team. I don't care that you went 4 for 4. You missed another extra point. That is unacceptable.
Yeah, I don't know why Chip Kelly has a thing for Sturgis. He just continues to keep him on the team. He even showed confidence again for Sturgis today. So, unfortunately, we're stuck with Caleb Sturgis. I mean, I just wanted to see him come in and make extra points in this game, and he missed another one. So, that's all I needed to see.
Yeah, it's a shame because when we were working out kickers, I mean, I saw we worked out Nick Novak, and I liked him. He was consistent with the Chargers. I think the Texans signed him, but Caleb, a guy named Caleb, and we are stuck with him because Chip signed him, he picked him, so barring any injury, he's going to stick with his decision because Chip's stubborn. So, but it just sucks because every kick, no matter where it is, it can be a 30-yarder or a 40-yarder, it doesn't matter. We're going to sweat it out. Especially there's going to be a big game. It's going to come down to a field goal again, and we're going to have to sweat. We really take for granted how lucky we were to have somebody like Akers for all those years. Literally automatic every time. Didn't matter where. Just. So we're stuck with the man named Caleb, and we just got to cross our fingers and our toes every time. Yeah,
man. And the one thing that he does do well is kick the ball off. He does kick it into the end zone, and they say that they picked him because he did better in the practice or whatever. I think some of it may have had also to do with the kickoffs, and Novak and Forbat, their legs aren't as strong. But my thing about that is you have all these guys that you sign to your special teams. You have the best kickoff coverage unit in the NFL. I mean, you think about the one play Maragos made at like the 13-yard line, just flying to the ball. So to me, it's like, all right, so he can't kick the ball off as far. But I swear to God, whenever they try to take it out of the end zone, I never see them get past the 20 on this kickoff return unit.
Yeah, well, you talk about Maragos, and he's a guy that we forget to talk about when we talk about the defense, because usually he doesn't play on defense, but this season you're seeing him play a lot of snaps on defense, and he must be doing somewhat of a decent job because I don't see him in the play that often getting burned or anything. So, Maragos, so. He's a guy, obviously he's a stud on special teams, but it's been kind of surprising to me that he's getting a lot of snaps on defense.
Yeah, he has been playing a little bit in the slot on defense, but, he's known, obviously, for his special teams. He was with that Seattle Super Bowl team. I loved that tackle. He flew right to him and stopped him short like before the 15. So we did sign all these a couple years 2 years ago. We got Brayman and Maragos for special teams. Jared Tutu this year. So why we brought Caleb in just for his kickoffs? I don't know, but Chip is Chip, so we can't. He's going to do what he wants to do. You just got to hope and pray that Caleb doesn't lose us another game like the Redskins game.
Yeah. And moving on to next week, just temporarily, after the Dallas game, I was like, I know a lot of people were shitting the bed and freaking out in Philadelphia, and I stood there. I was like, we're going to be in first place by the time we play Dallas again. And you know what? I might be wrong because they might be in first place next week. That's how crazy it is. So Dallas has a bye. The Redskins, I don't know who they play, but I believe it's a tough opponent. And obviously, Eagles play the Giants. You beat the Giants, and if the Redskins lose, you beat the Giants. You have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the G-men. So potential Monday night game could be for first place, and that's crazy to think about when everybody gave up on the season after week 2. Well, not everybody, not the Bitter Birds, but many in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was ugly around here. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The way that they were playing, not putting a whole game together, I mean, it wasn't pretty. But I'll tell you what, this was a game that they really needed, and I guess this can bring us to this point. It seems like from going forward that we need to have these meetings in the shower before the game. Bradford came out before the game. Hopefully, all the pads and everything stayed on, but he got the guys together in the shower, and whatever he did, it worked.
I read that. I just had a laugh. I'm like, really? All right, Sammy Sleeves. He's rolling them sleeves up and taking the boys in the shower. Oh, I guess it worked. I guess Sammy's trying to step up as a leader. Maybe he picked the wrong area of the facility to be a leader and take the initiative. But whatever works, man. We got the win. You brought up being in first place. So Giants, huge game next week. The Redskins travel to New York and play the Jets. That's a pretty even matchup, I guess. The Jets should win that. It's just a huge game against the Giants. We could literally be 3-3 and at the top of the division. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and just a quick comment on the Bradford thing. Yesterday was National Coming Out Day. Just throwing that out there. So yeah. Okay, so that's enough of that subject. I tweeted that on Twitter, and one of those people that take things too seriously came and said, why would you say that? I'm like, dude, I got nothing against gay people. I love gay people. Come on, guys. So it's like, Jesus Christ. I can't say anything on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, just trying to make a joke. Some people take it too seriously, but yeah, I mean, you gotta laugh at that story. I mean, it's just pretty funny. Like Jeremy said, I mean, out of all the places he picks a shower, I mean, he could have picked another location.
Yeah, we both know Adrian well. He's a very funny guy, so he's just having a little fun with it. It's just what the hell.
Yeah, well, people. Well, it was just one guy, but it was just it made me laugh, to be honest with you. It's just like I'm playing on the National Coming Out Day hashtag. They had a meeting in the shower. Like, come on, that is hilarious. And I am immature. Hell, it was funny to me. Okay, it was funny to me. It was hilarious. So if this guy's watching, I doubt he is. That's my thoughts on the subject. That's why I thought it was funny. Isn't it funny? That's something to be joking about. But yeah. All right. So we recapped everything. Start to finish, offense, defense. Even got some special teams talk in. Talked a little bit about next week, how the Eagles could be in first place. So it's final thoughts time. And guys, say what you guys want to say.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's pretty wild, like we were saying, to think that we're here now at 2-3 and really got a great shot at this division. But, my main point is here, going forward, the key to this season, division games. They're not going to win this division if they continue to falter in these games. So far, we're 0-2. My vantage point, I think that they got to win out, or they can only afford to lose one. But I think that the Giants, especially, I think that's a team that they got to win both games against.
The Giants are honestly they're kind of scary. I mean, Eli, the way he took control last night and won that game in the final minute is for them is, Eli does have 2 Super Bowl rings. Tom Coughlin has 2 Super Bowl rings. You can't really count them out, but we're right in it. I agree with Mike. We can't, we cannot. I say we have to win the rest of the division games. Honestly, I say we got to go 4-2. And 3-3 doesn't look that good. But as long as we end up with a better record, 9, I can see 9, 10 wins now. 9 wins can win the division. It's just you just got to build off this momentum. Let this be a jump start, step at a time. But, Sammy Sleeves should improve on this, learn from this game. The offensive line continue to build on this great performance. And Chip, keep calling the plays like you did against the Saints because, it worked. 519 yards of offense. That's more like it, Chip.
Yeah. Just a quick thought on the Giants. That defense does not scare me. I will say that. I am salivating at the thought of Unga being matched up one-on-one against Darren Sproles. Oh, that's yes. I think Unga is the worst coverage linebacker in the league. So now we forgot to talk about something. We did our final thoughts, but we forgot our 3 stars of the game. So let's just really, really quickly just name our 3 guys, and then we'll get out of here. So we'll start with Mike.
All right, well, obviously, top star, I think we're all going to agree on, was probably Fletcher Cox, outstanding game. Second star, I'm going to go with Bradford. And then my third star, really going to have to say that it was probably going to go with the Huff. I mean, his biggest game as a professional. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Huff as my third.
I'll try and pick a little different, but I have to agree with Cox. I'll pick that one the same because that's just impossible. Yeah. He's the star of the game. Yeah. My other 2, I'll go with Jason Peters and his gutty performance. The old man played the best game of the season so far, overcame injury, and was a big part of that running game and the offensive line working. And I'm gonna go with I'll go with Jordan Hicks because he's all over the field and he's just impressed me every week with Kendricks and Alonzo being down. It's been a blessing to have him and have him stepping up in there for them.
Yeah. Number 1, Cox. I mean, come on. Just a no-brainer there. Number 2, I have Jason Kelce. I thought he was by far his best game of the year. I thought he was extraordinary on his pulls, the cut blocks that he had on the perimeter. I thought he was outstanding. Number 3, I thought was Byron Maxwell. I thought he had a really solid performance. He got a lot of shit on Twitter after that 3rd down completion from Snead, but besides that, I didn't really see him get beat. So the only play he didn't make was I still have no idea how he didn't intercept that one pass. It was literally laying on top of the I forget who it was, but I'm like, how did he not catch that? But those are my 3.
Yeah, he pushed the ball in. I don't know what he was doing.
It was hanging. Yeah, it was there for the taking. I was confused for a second. I'm like, wait, We got a pick? No, we don't.
He did have a fumble recovery though, so he did a good job of getting down on that ball. You know, a lot of times you'll see the defender, they'll try to pick up the ball and it's squirting all over the place like you know like a piece of butter but he fell on top of it. Good technique on that too. You know, curled around the ball. You know, like as if he's like holding his little baby during a hurricane or a tornado. So you know, really good job there. So yeah, that is that. We again. You know, it's a good win, but you know, you got to take into account the opponent. So it is a confidence builder, though. So hopefully we can see more of this as the season goes along with the offense.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. So, you know, lots of shining stars in this one. First couple weeks, especially those losses, it was tough to find 3 stars, but there was multiple stars in this one.
Yeah, let's just ride this momentum. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds, baby. That's it. That's what he said, and then that's the end of the show. So that's Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton. I'm Adrian Fedke. Go Birds, baby.
Later.
Peace.